Channel 2 and Lion Red proudly present Winfield Cup action in Aussie League on 2.
And here come the Tigers. John Elias, Tim Brasher, Paul Davis, Gary Jack. At fullback is Gary Jack. On one wing, Matt Burke making his first grade debut for the Tigers. David Bassari and Jason Sinclair in the centre. Tim Brasher on the wing. Paul Davis 5/8. Will Robinson halfback. Martin Masella is the lock forward. John Elias and Shane O'Grady in the second row. Steve Edmed, Ben Elias and Derek McVeigh in the front row. The coach is Alan Jones. And down the stairs come the Manly Sea Eagles. John Jones, who's been in great form for Manly. He can hold his head up high. Des Hasler, characteristic. Slow to come out of the tunnel. At fullback is Matthew Ridge. On one wing is Anthony Rogers. Kevin Iro and Michael O'Connor in the centre. Craig Hancock on the other wing. Cliff Lyons back at 5/8. Jeff Tuvey is the halfback. And the forward lineup. Hard-working back row. Des Hasler at lock forward. Ian Roberts second row with John Jones. The front row is John Grieve, Tony Mestrov and David O'Donnell at hooker. The New Zealand coach, Howie Tamati, watching this game. And we saw a moment ago former Australian coach Frank Stanton in the crowd. The referee is Eddie Ward, who controlled the third State of Origin match. And play underway from the boot of David Bassari. Couple of changes in this Manly front row with Martin Bella relegated from the starting team, and a late exclusion is David Hosking. He pulled out with a rib injury, so we've got the front row of Mestrov, O'Donnell and Grieve. And here's Tony Mestrov now, running into some solid defence from Steve Edmed, who played very well in Balmain's performance last week against Penrith. Here's Kevin Iro. Manly be looking for big things from the Kiwi centre today.
It's a good set of six by the Manly forwards there, and they're spreading the ball. They're going down a short blind here.
And almost away down that wing, and the referee comes in and says that they carried him over the touchline. Questioned by Elias. That was Rogers, the winger, tackled into touch by Burke. Looked okay as it happened.
Yeah, certainly good work by Matthew Burke. He read that well.
And Ben Elias just mouthed the words fifth tackle. He realised his team had done 5 hard tackles.
And here's Jason Sinclair being cautioned for a head-high tackle, going over, and he virtually admonishes himself as he realises he has made a mistake. Mestrov going up, pushing off a tackle, and there's a vicious forearm, swinging forearm there, going over the top of Mestrov.
And if that had connected, Sinclair could very well have been sent from the field. And you might ask, well, why, if it doesn't connect, should it be any difference? Here's John Jones with 2 penalties. Manly up to the Balmain 22. Tuvey, Lyons, Hasler standing wide. He makes the break. Des Hasler over the 22. Looks wide for Hancock. Inside is O'Connor. Manly close. Manly have scored. In the first 2 minutes of play, a try to Manly, a tremendous boost to the Sea Eagles. From one side of the field to the other, Des Hasler coming off the 5/8 Cliff Lyons. First tackle after the tap. They swung it wide. They caught Balmain out wide here as Des Hasler cut through. Looks for his winger at this point. Out there was Hancock. He couldn't go all the way, but O'Connor caught them on the wrong foot, speared through. Not enough cover defence from Balmain, and a great start for Manly.
Yeah, well, Manly caught Balmain on the wrong foot here. They didn't spread in defence. We see the ball spread by 2 beautiful wide passes, and Hasler going through the gap, just plays the ball back to Hancock. Hancock just brings that ball back inside. Of course, the cover defence going across, not paying any attention to Michael O'Connor. Great start by Manly.
Michael O'Connor back from a medial ligament injury to his knee last month. And what a way to start. He hasn't forgotten how to score tries. Matthew Ridge, midway between the sideline and the posts. No breeze to worry about. Hits it solidly, and the flags are up. Manly fly away. Scoring in the first 2 minutes, they lead 6 points to 0.
There's the ball move wide now. Here's Cliffy Lyons. He's just been let out of a cage after playing in the dummy half position. He likes it out there. Hasler hit the gap well in behind Baysari. This is a good pass inside. Michael O'Connor, there's plenty of cover there, but all on the wrong side of the ball, and O'Connor's gone over to score a try. Good start for Manly.
Matthew Ridge brings it back. Yes, as you say, John, the cover was there. It was probably a little too keen. They got across too early.
Yeah, I think they're on the wrong side of the ball, Warren. They thought they should have had it covered. It was just simple inside ball from Hancock, but Michael O'Connor, he couldn't believe it. There's that much space there for him.
Will Robinson sliding off Jeff Tuvey. Halfback on halfback. Now Roberts. Ian Roberts needs to have a big game. He's a powerhouse player at his best. Hasn't quite been at that high standard he sets himself.
A few holes appearing up the middle of Balmain's ruck.
Ridge booting it down towards the Balmain 22, and Gary Jack is back there.
It's a very good chasing team.
Well, there's plenty of rumours around the Balmain camp that Manly have had a powwow this week, that players have been hauled over the coals. There's even rumours that the coach was called in by the management. There is the coach, Graham Lowe. I don't know whether any of that is true, but it certainly has Balmain worried that Manly are ready to play today.
Of course, Manly penalised there for infringing the 5 metres. The culprit being John Grieve.
Just short of halfway. Brasher. Elias clapping his hands. Wants a quick play the ball. Out it comes to Edmed. He puts it down. Had a look. Wasn't really under any pressure. Pass a little low, but he should have taken it. Roberts short passing to Jones. O'Donnell at dummy half. Uses the backs. Tuvey, Lyons. Forward pass to Hasler. And not only a forward pass, but Hasler offside. Deliberate forward pass or offside, whichever way you like. It's a penalty to Balmain.
Well, if you have a look at this, the ball is being spread wide, and Cliffy dummies to Michael O'Connor on the outside, and Des Hasler a metre offside. You wonder why first-grade footballers do those things, John.
Yeah.
Balmain coach Alan Jones feeling a little uncomfortable there by the look of it. Tim Brasher, who showed he can kick pressure goals for New South Wales in the State of Origin series. For Balmain, he hits this well from a long way out, but it's wide. The score remains 6-0 to Manly. We've had 6.5 minutes of play. Alan Jones talking to Steve Roach, maybe about to send him on. Lyons, Tuvey, Hasler. Iro pushes off O'Grady. Kevin Iro goes straight through. Gary Jack in front of him. Jack makes the tackle. Gary Jack, a wonderful defensive fullback. Tuvey. Elias was offside. Tuvey still going. Lowitz Lyons. Plenty of support. Mestrov hammers it forward. Only 20 metres out. Manly with numbers on the left. Roberts goes to the line. Lyons away from Robinson. Now it's Hasler. Des Hasler very much involved in this first 20 minutes of play. Still got tackles. Lyons held over the top. Hancock took it in well. Ridge keeping it alive, Manly. Ridge sets sail for the line. Now it's the 5th tackle. Spread right across the field. Manly, oh, they've messed up the first pass. Back to O'Connor. O'Connor decides to run. It's the last. Puts it through now for Hancock. John Elias goes back over the dead ball line. Well, the back line was set, but they were flat expecting the bomb, I thought. The first pass from the dummy half went astray.
Yeah, very good play here by Michael O'Connor, but just a little bit too much weight on that grubber. But Balmain playing the penalty of laying off Cliff Lyons. He's almost mesmerising them, John.
Yeah, that's his forte, Arthur. He just holds people off. He's got that ability. But what I like about Manly, if he can't get a ball wide to some of those very good outside players, he's got Desi Hasler just sitting on the inside of him. Gee, that's handy because Hasler can split any defence.
This is the best Des Hasler has played since coming back from injury. He's been back about a month and has been below form. He's looked dangerous so far.
Yeah, it just coincided with Lyons being moved back to 5'8", Warren.
Well, that could be it too, yeah. Mind you, when Cliff Lyons, there's Roach warming up now. When Cliff Lyons was originally moved to hooker, it was because he wasn't playing very well at 5'8", but that experiment didn't appear to work after a couple of weeks. Kick finds touch. Paul Davis.
A good kick there by Paul Davis. This is in keeping with Alan Jones's philosophy of utilising a good kicking game.
Paul Davis, 21 years of age, originally from Kempsey. The Balmain under 21 player of the year in 91 when he joined Balmain, and a player with a big future. Growing in confidence as he racks up first-grade games.
Strange enough, John, it's the Manly forwards are causing Balmain a few problems. They're falling off tackles.
Yeah, Manly's just taking the ball to them, and Balmain are not as enthusiastic as I thought in defence up close. Look at that yardage there. There's Jones going for another 15-metre.
And we see Derek McVeigh coming in over the top there with the swinging arm.
Grieve goes up the middle. Gets a pass back to Roberts. On it goes to O'Donnell. Manly not locking him up.
Yeah, they haven't got much respect for the Balmain defence. There's the rookie, Grieve, flicking balls out like he's an Arthur Beetson Jr.
Ridge running off Lyons, still on his feet. Cliff Lyons is the ringmaster out there. They've got to knock him over. Out it comes now. Lyons hasn't got any runners, but there's no pressure on him, no defence on him. O'Connor puts a kick ahead and taken into touch. Taken into touch was Matt Burke. Good tackle by Rogers, following him through. Nothing Burke could really do about it.
No, and of course Balmain paying the penalty there on the last tackle of laying off Balmain and letting them make the decisions.
Steve Roach on the field. Derek McVeigh has a breather. And Hasler runs from the scrum base. Jack makes the tackle. They're going forward all the time, Manly. Tuvey at dummy half. Lyons. Iro. O'Connor changing angles. Lyons, great pass to Ridge. Iro only 10 metres out. Beats Roach. Kevin Iro steams over for the try. Brilliant change of angles in the lead up there. Switching it from one point to the other. Had the defence at 6s and 7s. Steve Roach did well to get across in cover defence, but he could never contain Kevin Iro. Look at this great play. Iro on the angle to O'Connor. On the angle again was Lyons. Beautiful pass from Lyons out to Ridge. And then Iro turning Steve Roach inside out, and the cover couldn't stop the big man.
Yeah, Balmain paying the penalty here, really watching Manly do their tricks, and they're allowing them too much latitude. A beautiful ball there by Cliff Lyons, an equally good ball onto Iro, and Iro just shrugging through some poor cover defence.
Kevin Iro, formerly of Wigan, in his second season with Manly, played in the Challenge Cup final last year. A tremendous player. Alan Jones with nothing to smile about. The defence, he must be thinking, where is the defence? Where is the swarming, fast-moving defence to put doubt into Manly's mind? Matthew Ridge from a similar position to where he converted the first try. And he's got it. Ridge extends the lead. It's 12 points to 0 in favour of Manly after 22 minutes of play. Balmain have another chance now. Masella goes across field, but hounded down by Tuvey and Lyons. Ed-Med, that's good strong stuff. And coming through is Matt Burke, looking for the pass. Robinson, Davis, Elias, John Elias. Ben and John working together in centre field. Plays it forward, wasn't marked. 3 Manly players in the tackle. 5th tackle, right in front of the post, 20 metres out. It's Roach going wide. Short pass for Sinclair, good kick, but Ridge is there in the field of play. Took the ball, took the tackle.
Great work by Ridge there as he took that short chip and got himself down very low to avoid being pushed back into the in-goal area.
Roberts has held 3 metres out.
And obviously the worse for wear after that tackle.
Mestrov just manages to hang on to it. The tide turning a little at this moment. Lyons hits the blind side. Hasler, O'Connor. Touched by a Balmain hand. O'Connor gets it back. Or was it touched? No signal from the referee, and now Balmain have got it.
Was offside.
Balmain quickly go from defence to attack. Masella, numbers out wide. Davis showing it inside, goes outside. Swinging arm from Iro. Referee has seen it. Kevin Iro being called out.
It's certainly a swinging arm by Kevin Iro, but I can't believe that Eddie Ward didn't rule the knockdown by Balmain.
We'll have a look at the swinging arm from Kevin Iro. It was a grappling tackle as Davis, well, I don't know that he was really trying to dent the skull of Davis. He was trying to cut off the ball.
To me, it was a badly executed tackle, but going back to the other ruck, I can't believe that Eddie Ward missed that knock on by the Balmain player.
Well, here's the incident you're talking about, Arthur. With Manly in possession, they hit the blind side. Hasler and O'Connor. It was knocked down by a Balmain hand, so that should be 6 more tackles. Now O'Connor loses the ball. There should have been 6 more tackles. I don't know how anyone could have missed that.
Well, he's offside also the...
Well, the Manly hand touched it in between.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is inside the 10.
Yeah, OK.
The ball is knocked down, goes back to a Manly player, and the Balmain is still...
The point you raised came up about a month ago, and I rang up the Referees Association about it, and there was quite a bit of debate as to exactly what the ruling is. When the ball is knocked down, can a player inside that offside, but inside the 10 metres, if you like, from the team who end up with the ball, take part in the play? Here's Roach, short pass for Robinson.
So what you're saying, the referees didn't know?
The referees didn't know themselves. They had quite a bit of a debate. I forget what the final decision was. Gary Jack. 5 metres out. Roach up the blind.
A very good tackle there by O'Donnell.
Elias swings it out to Robinson. Now it's Davis off his right foot. Hasler makes the tackle. It's John Elias backing up. Oh, he's dropped the ball.
Yes, John Elias just knocking that ball on, but a lot of pressure put on the Manly defence by this Balmain outfit.
It looked like John Elias trying a little too hard here.
Yeah, but we're just wondering here. The ball's in there, the hands are in there somewhere. You're just wondering about the stripping rule.
Roberts, no runners for him.
Still managing to offload, but Balmain are going to be in awful trouble if they continue to miss tackles and let Manly offload in the tackles.
Yeah, one of the smallest players on the field, Tuvey, have no trouble unloading in tackles. He's treating the defence with absolute no respect whatsoever.
Well, we have to start to analyse this Balmain defence. Ed Metz made 19 tackles, John Elias 16, Ben Elias 13. Kevin Iro gets it back to Grieve. Penalty goes to Manly.
Yeah, the penalty against Basari there, stripping the ball off Hasler. Eddie Ward right in the spot to give that decision. We have a look at John Grieve there. John Grieve going up, taking the tackle, and there's that hand in there, and Basari stripping Grieve of the ball.
Well, looking at that tackle count, as I mentioned, Ed Med and the 2 Eliases doing most of the tackling, so you've got to wonder how many tackles has Martin Masella made, how many did Shane O'Grady make, though he was replaced at one point there.
The statistic that Alan Jones would be interested in at half-time is the missed tackles. 26 of them. I suppose he'll be checking out to see who's making most missed tackles, or missing the most tackles, I should say.
Matthew Ridge is 27 metres out. And just to the right of the posts. And it curls around and it's through. But Manly extend their lead, starting to cement very authoritative position in this match. They lead 14 points to 0. Mind you, Manly have collapsed in the second half in a number of games this season. There's only 1 minute remaining till the break.
John, it's not only the missed tackle, it's probably the offloads that are worrying Balmain also.
Yeah, I guess one goes hand in hand with the other.
Baysari gets play underway. Hancock almost tripped by Ridge. Or I should say Rogers it is. Anthony Rogers.
If you haven't got a lot of enthusiasm in your defence and you don't hunt up together, teams recognise it straight away and they start to get offloads on you. There's a good restart for Manly.
Benny Elias won that ball in the play the ball, and Will Robinson, who was directly behind the ruck, failed to react quickly enough to fall on that loose ball.
Lyons puts Hasler through. John Elias across in cover. Penalty goes to Balmain against Hasler, walking off the mark.
And Eddie Ward correct in this decision. Des Hasler just doing a jump in the play the ball.
Des Hasler there walking forward. Wasn't dragged forward. Tried to milk a penalty, I believe. The clock is ticking down to the half-time siren. Only 3 seconds remaining, so Balmain are going to go from goal from a long way out. Tim Brasher placing this ball 40 metres and a bit out. 15 metres in from touch. There's Alan Jones ready for his half-time speech.
That's his assistant alongside him, Ken Chine, formerly with Parramatta.
Tim Brasher from a long way out. Has got the legs on it. Misses the direction, though. And that is half-time. Manly dominating the first half. Everything going their way. Playing great football, offloading the passes, scoring 2 tries to 0, and they lead 14-0. Roberts gets a slow play the ball. 5 metres inside Balmain's half on the last. Goes to Ridge. Low kick placed in between Jack and Matt Burke. Manly chase a little slower this time as well, but Tuvi's always down there quickly with Iro. And Balmain slowly come back on side. If Balmain are to lose this game, it was lost in the first 5 minutes of the game, where they allowed Manly to run at will. They allowed Manly to shake off the shackles of their poor form. At the same time, they became a rattle side, the Tigers. They've never recovered.
And on a number of occasions, we've seen Benny Elias scared out of the dummy half area, trying to pick up receivers, but there's no ball carriers or ball receivers available.
Elias, John Elias, gets it away to Baysari, onto Burke. Burke into open space, Ridge in front of him. Great pass back to Robinson. Kevin Iro trying to chase him down. Ben Elias leaves it behind. John Elias doesn't pick it up, and Manly have got it. If John Elias had been able to shovel that out, there were plenty of Balmain supports wide. In fact, they had 5-0.
It was a tough take for Benny Elias as that ball came back in from Will Robinson.
Good work by Burke and Will Robinson. Now Roberts settles it down. And Graham Lowe has pulled the right rein today with the changes he made. Cliff Lyons back at 5'8". Has certainly got the back line moving. Martin Bella rested, Tony Iro rested, David Lydiard and Gene Namu out of the first-grade lineup. And it's worked for the coach today.
Yeah, whilst we haven't seen Ian Roberts at his dominant best.
There is David Lydiard now coming on.
Ian Roberts has been responsible for hitting the ball up 16 times, so he's getting back to his best.
Sinclair was taken by players who had never got back to 5 metres. Eddie Ward has been very consistent in that area today.
Yeah, both sides very tired, and players are never retired to 5 metres.
And the Balmain crowd on their feet now as Roach steams up to the Manly 22. First time Balmain have had the ball on the Manly 22 for quite a while. Edmed. Caught on the quarter line by Jones. Manly's defence well set. O'Grady makes good ground. Another penalty goes to Balmain.
And also
Hassler in the bin for 10. Hassler feels he's a bit hard done by.
Yeah, the tackle was made on O'Grady by Hassler and John Grieve, and they're playing at the ball there, but yes, definitely the hand goes in there.
Should he be in the sin bin?
Well, they did have a bit of momentum, and it was a professional foul. They were getting a bit of steam on Balmain, so it would have been an attempt to slow the play the ball down, and who knows what might have happened.
Rogers leaving the field, obviously dazed, has been replaced by David Lydiard.
John, that's exactly how you look after a couple of nights out.
Tim Brasher right in front. That's the extra 2. So, Balmain on the board with that 2 points, and a good decision to go for the goal because now they're within 2 converted tries.
He's not in a very well, this young kid.
Let's have a look at the injury that caused Tony Rogers to be hurt. Well, he got a chop to the chin. No wonder he is dazed. And the tackler there was David Baisari.
I think a knee made contact when he hit the ground also. Quite accidental, I think, but I think he got a double blow. He's not too good.
Ridge gets play underway. And Manly, while you would think they're in control of this game, if they let their minds just wander at all, I'll think back to some of the second half losses they've had this season, and with that penalty goal, Balmain are within 12 points. 2 converted tries. It's not all over. There's 20 minutes of play remaining.
And of course, a couple of weeks back, Balmain did get out of jail. St George had a substantial lead on Balmain, and they really came home with a wet sail in the second half.
I'd like to see Brasher in a bit closer, perhaps in the centre with swap with Baisari.
Here's Gary Jack, taken by O'Connor. Roach, who has been playing great football in the last 10 minutes, and here he goes again. He has been making ground, unlike the rest of his teammates in the forwards. Last tackle, Robinson with the kick to Ridge. An important set of 6 coming up here for Manly. They need a mistake-free set of 6 just to regain control of this match. David Lydiard takes it up. Beats a tackle. Good step on Edmed. 14 points to 2 to Manly. Roberts.
Graham Lowe must be really punishing Tony Iro. I mean, he's had a replacement there on the wing, and he's used David Lydiard, who played the full second-grade game, and we've got Big Iro on the bench.
Fresh.
Yeah, and Ian Roberts, the man to come off.
Lions. O'Connor. Well, Manly not going into their shell. Ian Roberts has been replaced. Tony Iro on the field now. And that kick bouncing off the post. Lydiard chasing through with Tuvey. Jack Pin there.
A tremendous chase there by Tuvey and Lydiard, chasing that kick of Cliff Lyons.
Here's the kick from Lyons down to the post. The chase was all important. Gary Jack recovered from the bounce, but he couldn't get away. And here's Ridge bringing it back. John, maybe the reason... Oh, there's Ian Roberts with a big black eye. I think that might have been sustained, if not before the game, early in the game, because he seemed to have the mark well and truly from the start of play. But here's Tony Iro in a dummy half, and he doesn't appear to be moving freely.
No, it looks a little bit scratchy, but using him in the forwards, a little bit of mobility won't help there, won't hurt, because Balmain forwards, I think, they've lacked a little bit of mobility in defence.
Kevin Iro putting it on the toe. It looked as if he